gonna be one of the next projects here. Got a couple leaks to fix on the transmission, and a little bit of welding that we got to do on it. I want that. That'd be an awesome daily.
Right? He's gonna throw rocks. Shit.
Yeah, I had problems fitting in this thing too.
Really? Dude, I can steer this bitch with my knee. I can drive this whole car.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. The things you sacrifice to look cool.
But you see what I was saying about how it acts like a timing curve?
Yeah.
It's just boom, boom.
We've checked timing on it. We've made sure the vacuum advance works. The only other thing I can think of is,
Car.
well, or the ignition module inside the HEI.
Well, that too. But I kind of feel like it's in the car. Just the way it bogs out.
Yeah, no, I agree. But the only other ignition related thing is HEIs love to kill. They're,
I'm glad it's got doors that are low so I can get my big ass out of this thing.
and that open. The first time Chris got in his car, he climbed over the doors thinking the doors didn't work. We assumed that they were just welded shut.
Well, that's because the guy climbed in and out of it.
That coolant puddle on the intake has gotten bigger.
Yeah, I just started it.
That's a pretty healthy leak. It'd also be nice if we get this air cleaner off so we could actually watch the carburetor and see what's going on with it. It was installed incorrectly, so it's going to take some work and some time to get this air cleaner off.
Well, I mean, look at the valve covers.
Yeah, there's also no PCV on this engine. Both these valve covers are sealed. We're both shocked that this thing hasn't just launched a dipstick into another county. So that's another problem that for sure needs to be taken care of. So what's the guess on what it looks like underneath? Great or hacked?
It's not great.
Were you thinking underneath's gonna be just as bad?
Who knows?
About to find out. Nice use of a piece of aluminum diamond plate to mount the trans. That's sturdy. I also like that there's only sheet metal right here for the
protection between the drive shaft.
way too much work to have ran a piece of square tube around there so you have a drive shaft loop. God forbid. Oh, okay. There's a slight one back here, so we're kind of okay.
And I really like that it's just a piece of pipe that somebody just welded some yokes on, like it's not balanced or nothing.
Yeah, there is no weight.
I don't know, they might have actually had that done.
There's no weights on it though.
No, I don't feel like it's been balanced. Nice.
I figured this thing would look like it bottomed out a lot more.
Going in your speedo hole.
So speedo hole's just wide open and leaking fluid.
Yeah, it kind of appears that way. Wow.
What's the complaint when you put it in reverse? It just pukes transmission fluid out.
Yeah.
What transmission is this?
But it's leaking out of the rear main pretty healthy, which that's to be expected.
Well, yeah, it's got no PCV, so it's blowing crankcase pressure out of any place it can.
Next thing is the oil pan leaking.
I really like how the fuel line is just chilling right here on this bolt, so it'll chafe and rub and have a nice fuel leak on the back.
So the oil pan needs resealed.
Okay. What's this? This is the brake line of the car running through where the Heim joints go. Battery cable's just all zip tied up there. It's not the sketchiest thing I've ever seen, but it's also not going to win any Riddlers.
Yeah.
Looking at it, we just realized too, you could in-frame this small block Chevy.
But here's the thing, every other vehicle has a cross tie right here because the torque of the motor is going to tweak your frame rails. So whoever built this didn't add, I mean, even if they would have built a bolt-in girdle to go across from side to side to keep it from stretching the frame rails.
Well, I mean, we got this giant plate at the front of the rails here where the buggy spring mounts to.
But still.
Yeah, they're... We also noticed
I mean, look,
the transmission is at a pretty steep uphill angle from the tail shaft.
I really don't like whoever designed this and made it. You've got.
I don't think design was much of
You got hack.
I think someone just started welding stuff together.
And they're towards the back.
I would have done this so different.
Well, like,
So different.
this cross member here is bolted to this one, which has a giant cut in the center to clearance the drive shaft, but it's not actually welded on either end. It's just got 2 bolts in it.
Jeez. Good Lord.
He said he wants to cruise at 70 in this.
It's gonna need a lot to cruise at 70.
I was gonna say I'd be upping my life insurance.
Yeah.
No, I would.
I mean, look, the cross ties under the seats aren't even welded all the way around. Like it's got a piece of shit weld on this back side if you run
Look,
your finger.
There's a weld here. There's nothing there, nothing there, nothing here. So it's one side welded on any of those.
Well, dude, it's 2 on. It's. Oh no, he's got 3 on here, but not the bottom. And then you've only
that
got
was-
2
Oh, it
welds.
gets better. Look, they've cut this tube completely and like half-ass welded it back together. What the fuck?
Yeah, this isn't. Is this welded anywhere? I can't feel a weld.
This-
There's a little bit on the front side. So this bar that comes up that makes your seat back mounts the battery. No, that's not the battery. That's what mounts the body. It's only got 1 weld. Dude, this thing needs like a full 8-hour day of us just chasing all these welds and finish welding it.
It needs a new chassis. It really just needs a tube chassis built for it.
We have a tube bender.
This is ridiculous.
I mean, they make. You can order like chassis kits from Speedway Motors to
but
weld
here's
your
the
own.
thing, even if you're going to do something like this,
That should have been
you
plated.
You should have been 2 to 3 tube, and then notched it around and inlaid it with an inward piece of steel and welded it in, so it's still got structure to it.
I mean, look at this. There's a gap I could park a truck in right here, and it's only welded right here. Oh, there's a little bit on the top too. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't even trust this on the lift. I don't trust it on the lift.
All the heavy stuff's that way. We're
Yeah.
good.
We're good back here. No, the main frame rails that it's picked up on, it's fine, but
All the cross bracing and everything on this though is just.
Your full car is just gonna go.
I mean, we've had it on the lift for what, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to look at how they've mounted the airbags now.
Ooh.
These mounts are just welded to the frame. Those top plates, do they have any support going any direction on them, or are they just welded flat to the rails?
No, they actually seem like
they actually look like they've welded those in pretty decent.
Oh, that was the problem with my 58 Apache. It kept blowing the top of my airbags through the floor of the truck, like the bed. I had to redo a lot of the welds back there.
I'm really curious as to what this is all about.
I believe that is your bump stop. So when the airbags air all the way down, it holds the axle.
But there's no rubber.
You don't need that.
Okay. I'm assuming they built this thing to slam it to the ground. Would be by the looks of how they have that channeled. But why?
I mean, like this. Why is this hanging under the suspension link? That should have been hacked off. That doesn't need to be there.
No.
They did on the other side.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't get the lift all the way in there. It's touching both.
Oh.
It's got disc brakes on it, but you guys are gonna love this too. It's got a single piston master cylinder on it, splitting off right here.
It's
There's
cool
their
until
brake
you
pressure
dig
switched
into
in
it.
line.
Yeah,
The steering column moves all around.
The car's cool until you start digging into it, and it's like, wow.
There are no shocks at all on this car.
They notched this.
It is disc brakes though all the way around. The other thing I was laughing at is these are load range C truck tires. See if they can see that. Give it some twist. He's moving the whole frame under where your feet sit for the pedals. The steering column is loose in the car completely. There's nothing down here securing the column.
I would.
There's one clamp inside, and it's about a 1/4 inch off being tight.
I wouldn't drive this thing around the block, let alone 70 mile an hour. I'm lucky I made it back riding with him down the road and back. This thing's a death machine.
Is that a stop sign for a floor pan?
It appears so, yeah. Yeah, it is. That's where they should have stopped, okay? I'm just saying.
Like this too. These rods right here for the front suspension. You just got a flat piece of plate welded in there. There's nothing to stop this plate
And
from.
that's just 1/4 inch. I mean, if you're going to use it for suspension at all, you should have used half.
And those are some pretty great looking welds.
Oh my god.
I mean, I'm not the greatest welder, but I can make something prettier than that. It's welded on.
What the fuck? It ain't even touching over here. Look at that.
Yep, they didn't weld the top side on this one. They put a little weld there. What does the outside look like? Okay, the outside's
The
welded a
outside
little
looks
bit.
decent. So they actually paid somebody to weld the outside, and they just kind of bubble gummed it together.
Let's see how let's look at this. So the steering rack's mounted to a piece of plate. Okay, that actually feels kind of sturdy. I don't know, man. This whole thing just.
I think this is one of those things. I'm gonna call the customer and have them come look at it like this.
Yeah, I really think before we do anything else, they need to do that. This thing gives me flashbacks of when I used to work on a lot of stuff in the car club I was in. My best advice I can ever give you is if you want a rat rod of any type, unless it came from a big name hot rod shop, build it yourself. Or, I mean, really.
Find somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing when they build it.
Yeah, because this, I'd like to say, is not common, but you run into this all the time, and people will pay money because from up here, man, the patina on those headers look great. The engine doesn't look too bad. It's got a decent look. It looks like, you know, it does have a panel that covers all of this, so you're not seeing a bunch of this. You see a little bit of the fuel tank. I mean, the body's a little rough. I'd like to see, you know, a rolled edge over this or something.
If I would have done this, first off, all this would have been a
Yeah,
lot
this would
better.
have all been patched. There's no sharp edges
I
and
would have got a
cuts.
Zeus kit and put Zeus panels so you could actually pop the panels off and on and actually work on it.
Oh, you want to show them how you adjust the seat?
Oh, you mean you just take it out?
Yeah. So if you're a little taller, you could fit in the car. That's how you have to drive it.
Yeah, no shit. Dude, I can't touch the pedal. My knees are like... right
Grab the
here.
steering wheel too and show them the play in the steering column. No, lift up, down, left, right. That's the only place that it's really secured. And not only is it moving in the mount is moving under the dashboard. Good news is it's got a fire extinguisher. So, point one for safety.
And a pistol.
One that's known to blow up in your hands. The barrel's been cut. It's non-functional anymore.
I mean, it's a legit pistol.
Yeah. I probably would have figured out a way to... There's a lot of missing pieces. Yeah.
Speedometer.
Yeah, it's got a tach, temperature, oil pressure, and battery. You know, if it catches on fire, there are tons of holes in the firewall. So
What
Yeah.
firewall?
No, it's all just like two-stage weld. No, that's just all one weld.
yeah, there's nothing else. It's just on the
Just
which
Oh yeah, it's better.
the body's not actually welded down on this side. The body's on this piece of framework. It's just sitting on here. It's not actually welded to the car on this side.
Did you point out the fuel cell?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So the fuel cell, it's bolted in. We got a bolt there and a bolt there, right? Oh yeah, looking really good here. Nice fuel cell. So we're bolted in there, and apparently we ran out of bolts, so that's a U-bolt.
We should have known when we saw the U-bolt at first.
There were a couple indications I had, but I was
there's numerous indications.
I was hoping though that it wasn't as bad as we were thinking, but
This was supposed to come in just be a fix a training leak and out the door, but it looks like it's going to be a
I don't think I would touch
problem.
it. I don't even know that if you don't want that other stuff fixed, I don't even know if I'd risk putting your name on it.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
going to be a conversation we're going to have with the owner to see what he wants to do.
Because I've already told him about the master cylinder. It ain't safe to drive down the road.
Oh, no.
Technically, it shouldn't even be legal to drive down the road with a single pop master cylinder like that.
No.
Because there's no e-brake, there's nothing. If it blew a brake line or hose or whatever,
You're done.
You're
He's
done.
fucked.
Game
It's
over.
Yeah.
Game
Especially
over.
in a jack rig like this, you're gonna get a.
You are the crumple zone in this car.
No, you're gonna get a side.
If you wreck this thing, you hit a squirrel at 20 mile an hour, you're dead.
Yeah.
This thing's worse than a motorcycle. You can't get away from it.
I'm probably safer crashing my Harley than I would be crashing in this.
You're riding in a pop can. Done.
No, you're riding in you wreck in one weird manner, you're gonna send one of these broken rebar or broken bars straight through your back.
If you wreck at all, you're in a
Well, to be fair, that's not a collapsible steering column either, so that's a harpoon coming at your chest.
Yes.
All joking aside, though, seriously, guys, take this as a lesson. If you buy something, if you don't know what you're looking at, pay somebody who knows what they're looking at. Because
Yeah.
I don't know what he paid for this car, but I already have a rough idea just by looking at it of what it would take to leave here. And there's going to be at least a digit or two after the comma to get this thing back to being right.
Not just like your back road.
Like,
your-
honestly,
Yeah.
that thinks they know.
After seeing everything I've seen, I'm to the point that if he doesn't want to fix a lot of stuff, if it leaves here, he's got to bring a trailer.
Yeah, we're not letting this drive out of here anywhere near the shape it's in right now.
And if you have some,
And there will be a signed waiver if he takes it that he's accepting it, knowing all of these faults, and that we say that this vehicle is in no way, shape, or form safe to even start, let alone drive.
Nor
But
do I want to go down the road that my kids are going to be in a car.
yeah,
Well, I mean, we drive a Sherman tank, so, I mean, the Expedition's going to fare pretty well compared to this thing.
yeah,
but even the trauma of your kids seeing this guy dead in his car after they
Yeah.
hit you at 20,
Yeah.
you don't want that. I
He
mean,
said when he first bought it, if he hit a bump over 20 mile an hour, turn it 80 degrees.
yeah, they just put kingpins in it. But seriously, guys, I mean, use this guy's mistake as a learning experience. Be careful. I mean, this all could have been saved too if when he bought this car, he would have paid a mobile technician to come out and look at it. Or, I mean, anytime I'm looking at buying stuff like this, or
Honestly-
anyone does, take it to a
Honestly,
shop.
If I was going to buy something like this, I'd see if there's a local shop, exhaust shop, somebody's got a lift, preferably a drive-on lift because it'd be a lot easier to set than two posts. Pick it up, walk
Even if you're
around
paying
it.
an hour, 2 hours labor, $200 would have saved you a ton of hassle to just walk away from this car from the start.
Financial cost that you have to now spend.
Now-
that he doesn't-
This little glorified project of, hey, a fun weekend ride that he was thinking was going to be a few $100 to get going and fixed up is now a few $1,000s to make it safe.
I mean, we have a Model A shell. We have an engine and trans that needs some work. We've got a front axle, a rear axle. From what I'm seeing, though, this whole chassis needs to be stripped and at least welded and fixed. If not, start over.
Yeah.
There might be more labor in us fixing what's here once we get it apart enough to be able to weld the whole
Then
thing.
build a new one.
Yeah, then just to build another frame for this. I mean, we could probably build this chassis in less than a day on the lift if we rolled the car out and then just swap frames.
And
And
It wouldn't be hard to do some tape measures and some jack stands.
No.
I welded a Duramax back together 2 winters ago, and I was within a 32nd of being off of perfectly true on the frame. We front sectioned the frame on a Duramax. It was total.
I was gonna say I've re-stubbed a ton of stock cars. I've still got all my like laser measuring equipment from when I used to restub stock cars.
80,000 miles on that truck since I've done it.
Didn't they just break a crank in that?
Yeah, I think so.
Unrelated. LML problems.
Never wore tires off.
You're talking, we're realizing some more stuff. So obviously the body's welded straight to the frame. There's no mounts or anything. But this engine is also solid mounted. There's no rubber, urethane, anything. That's straight bolted into the chassis. So not only do we have a chassis that, let's be honest, is not welded very well, we've also got a ton of vibration through it from the solid mounts. It's, yeah. I'm at a loss for words at this point. Why? Why is there a bar here that's just cut and really sharp right where your arm's gonna go?
There's one over here for the passenger too.
Oh, okay, so we can both get injured together.
Yes.
Okay. We figured it out. You put your ratchet strap across here so you just, both people, yep. That way, when the car wrecks, they don't have to go looking for your body after it gets ejected into the woods.
Yeah, I'm curious how the whole seatbelt thing works out with this too.
It's kind of hard to have a seatbelt when
That's
this...
nice.
What?
So, there's no back at all. Like, literally, you're just being held in by the seat. Hopefully the seat doesn't break and you fall through.
That's plywood, yeah.
Nice. That's safe.
It does have cup holders, though. So there is that, and ashtrays. And I will give them this. Show them that door. The operation. One finger shut. Of all the stuff wrong with this car, I have no idea how that door shuts that good.
That door's not.
Oh no, this door's not. It's
strong and it's...
you gotta give it some force. We're curious now to see if there's actually any fuses in this car, if it's all just wired hot.
This car looks like something off that.
Oh, there's fuses,
Oh,
but the wiring doesn't look real great.
on a scale from 1 to farmer, how does the wiring look?
Green Acres is the place to be, the place for me.